So we have passed, as of right now, the official NBA trade deadline endpoint, but that doesn't mean we're done with the trades themselves. Every now and then, we do see a trade that gets agreed to before the deadline, then get leaked after. We're still actually waiting on the official details of what the detail is for Sheldon Mack. So Harris, as we kind of wait here for some more stuff to go on, what do you make of the deadline thus far?
I think, look, we saw the Cavs completely reshape their starting roster and their bench. And I think it can't be, look, you can't just scoff at it. They got 4 good players. They got Jordan Clarkson and Larry Nance in the Lakers. They got Rodney Hood and they got George Hill. Those are 4 good quality players that are going to help them a lot in the playoffs. Does it make them better than the Raptors or the Celtics? That remains to be seen. The Cavs do play the Celtics, I believe, this Sunday. So we will see a little bit. Yeah, it is on Sunday because that was supposed to be the Isaiah Thomas, Paul Pierce fiasco. So we will get to see them play good teams, but I'm interested to see how much better this has actually made the Cavs on the court.
All right, so we'll kind of go through these trades here in just a little bit here. We'll also have some winners and losers of this trade deadline period as we again wait to see if we end up getting any updates here. Here's one. Boston has made no trades.
Yep.
So the Boston Celtics will not be making any deals this offseason. They're going to stick, or this trade deadline, they're going to stick with Marcus Smart. They're not going to go out and get Tyreke Evans, which I would imagine, Harris, means that we're not going to see any trades for a Tyreke Evans in theory.
No, the only other team that could possibly make a move for him would be the 76ers, but apparently the Grizzlies wanted Dario Saric, and I'm sure the 76ers just kind of hung up the phone there. But like, I think that Tyreke Evans, this is weird. I think the Grizzlies overvalued him a lot. They should have just let him go. It's like trying to get, $1.50 for a quarter. Like, just it's Tyreke Evans. Trade him for a high second-round pick or for a decent bench player. He's not going to re-sign with you after the year. Really weird situation. All right, folks, here's what we're going to do for the rest of the show. We're going to take you through all the trades that have happened. If we get a new one, we'll go ahead and, of course, alter the plans and bring that in. We'll also have Brian's winners and losers at the end of this, so don't go anywhere here in a little bit. We'll start, of course, with the big trade, and that was the Cavs sending out Dwyane Wade to the Miami Heat. That was the big one.
It's Dwyane Wade. Of course it's the big one. I don't care there are 3-team trades. Dwyane Wade was involved. Harris, I'll let you give your quick thoughts here.
Look, I love it for Dwyane Wade, and I love it for the Heat, and I love it for the NBA. Look, it's a weird situation where, you have Pat Riley and the Miami Heat feuding with Dwyane Wade, the best player in the history of the franchise. This is great. It heals a lot of wounds. It'll let him retire as a member of the Heat. And let's get Gabrielle Union go back to Miami, which she's already tweeted that she's really happy about. Good for everyone involved. And, hey, the Cavs even got a second-round pick out of it.
All right, we'll keep it rolling there. So that was the Cavs Heat one. They had another trade, and, Brian, this was maybe the bigger one in terms of players involved. The 3-team trade, Jazz, Cavs, and the Kings.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you make of this trade?
Big again. The Cavs get a veteran in George Hill, a good veteran who's still young, and Rodney Hood, 25 years old, get him back, dumped off some salary, got rid of Derrick Rose, got rid of Iman Shumpert. Joe Johnson now becomes a major buyout candidate going to Sacramento. I think it was a good trade for everybody involved in terms of what they got back for it, but I think of all the teams that helped the Cavs the most.
All right, there. So let's get to the other Cavs trade involved here. The Lakers and the Cavs. Isaiah Thomas goes to L.A. What do you make of this deal, Harris?
I keep looking at Isaiah Thomas and what the rest of his career is going to look like, because he wants to play for a contender, but he also wants to get paid. And if you looked around both the Eastern and Western Conference, there aren't a lot of teams that are contending that have enough money to pay him, and the ones that do are teams like maybe a Philadelphia or even maybe the Bucks, who just aren't going to make a move like that. So I think Isaiah Thomas's career is in a really interesting point. He wanted the Celtics to back up the Mack truck for him, but they obviously didn't do it. I think Isaiah Thomas is going to be a really interesting player to look at. He might just get a ton of money from the Bulls and call it a career.
All right, so that was the Lakers cap trade. We'll kind of go way back a little bit more here to that Clippers-Pistons deal, the big one for Blake Griffin. Update here on the Clippers as well. They will not trade DeAndre Jordan. They did not agree to a trade there. Brian, quick thoughts on this one. Who won the Clippers-Pistons deal?
Pistons. Every time you get the best player of Blake Griffin's caliber, you automatically win the trade. Clippers got back Avery Bradley, who's going to be gone this offseason in free agency. They weren't able to. This seemed to start them wanting a rebuild to hit the reset button on their roster. Didn't happen with them not trading DeAndre Jordan. Didn't happen with them not being able to get rid of Avery Bradley, signing Lou Williams at extension. So it's kind of a weird move from the Clippers' perspective. But for the Pistons, getting a guy like Blake Griffin is big for them.
All right, there. So that's
Obviously.
the Clippers-Pistons trade details. That was very much an older one. Let's get to our next trade here on the list. That was the Bulls and the Pelicans. Harris, a much lesser one, but they did get a nice swing, shooting forward. The Pelicans did.
Yeah, Nikola Mirotic is a good fit for the Pelicans. They needed to put someone next to Anthony Davis with DeMarcus Cousins going down, especially in terms of points. Good get for the Pelicans. Will probably propel them enough to get into the playoffs, but once Cousins went down, any hope that they had of getting any sort of distance on it was gone.
All right, there. So that is the Bulls-Pelicans trade on that front. Let's get to the Nets-Bucks ones a little bit further back. There's Zeller and Vaughn, plus a pick involved here. Brian, what'd you make of this deal?
Nah, it's just one of those things. Pelicans trying to acquire as much as they can. It's a minor deal. It's not really going to have any impact, I don't think, on this season or in future seasons.
All right, then let's get to our next trade here as we go through all the deals that have happened from today and a couple days in the past as well. Knicks Hornets. Brian, I know that you like this one, so I'll let you do it again. Willie Hernangomez goes to Charlotte.
This was the Knicks with himself in a tough situation by not playing Hernangomez after a really promising rookie year, which he came on at the end. He was out of the rotation, didn't get along with Jeff Hornacek, demanded a trade. Charlotte needed to find some young players as they're rebuilding but not hitting the rebuild button. They have contracts they can't trade and contracts they won't trade in Kemba Walker. So finding a young player like Hernangomez who has upside, who will get playing time in Charlotte, and they didn't have to give up a lot to get him, was big for the Hornets and really bad, I think, for the Knicks.
All right, so the Knicks, I agree with you, Brian, not a great trade for them on that front. Pistons Bulls up next as one of several trades that involved players who had already been dealt this deadline. Harris, quick thoughts on this lesser deal.
Again, Jameer Nelson going back to play with Van Gundy is just, it makes me happy. Those old NBA 2K teams were so much fun with Dwight Howard and Jameer Nelson. You had Hito Turkoglu on those teams. Maybe Turkoglu will come out of retirement and go play for the Pistons as well. But Jameer Nelson's a quality backup point guard. I think they've kind of seen that without Reggie Jackson. They have nothing going on that side of the floor. So maybe he'll ramp up the offense a little bit.
All right, so that's the Pistons-Bulls trade details. Let's get to our next one here, and we'll mention this again one more time, I think, as well. The Lakers-Cavs trade, that was the big one. Isaiah Thomas goes to the Lakers along with Channing Frye and a first-round pick. Cavs get back Jordan Clarkson and Larry Nance. We discussed that quite a bit on today's show, so we'll go ahead and glance over that one there. And we'll mention that actually the Cavs' projected starting lineup here, Harris, and I'll get your thoughts. George Hill, Rodney Hood, plus guys like Jordan Clarkson. What do you make of the Cavs for this year while they still have LeBron James under contract?
Oh, I'll put it this way. Thank God they made that trade for George Hill and Rodney Hood, because if they didn't, they were staring at a starting lineup that consisted of, I was laughing about this before the show, it would have been Jordan Clarkson, J.R. Smith, Jay Crowder, LeBron James, and Larry Nance as a starting five against the Golden State Warriors. So now they have George Hill and Rodney Hood. Having those two in there is going to really, really help. I think that they're going to be more deadly in the Eastern Conference playoffs. But, Brian, I think you'd agree with me with this. You put this lineup out against the Golden State Warriors, oh my sweet goodness, they're going to get absolutely thrashed.
Yeah, it's the best they can do, and best, I think, looking for the future as well. Hood gives them some length, but they don't have a whole lot of versatility, which, again, I think will be the reason we see them sign a couple players who may get bought out here in the coming weeks and be major players in the buyout market, trying to find some more wing defenders.
All right, we'll keep it rolling here with some more trades that have gone down on today's NBA trade deadline. Grizzlies, Pistons. Harris, let you take this one again because Bryce Johnson also got dealt again.
Yeah, and hey, look, James Ennis gets to go play for a team that's contending for the playoffs. He's had an okay season for the Grizzlies. They've been talking about him moving, but there are a couple other players that didn't get moved today that I'm still absolutely stunned by. I cannot believe that the Memphis Grizzlies did not move Tyreke Evans. And by the way, we confirm that now, that Tyreke Evans will not be getting traded in what has to be the most illogical thing to happen this trade deadline. Why would they not move him? That's so. Apparently, the Boston Celtics offered the Memphis Grizzlies Gershon Yabusele and 2 second-round picks for Tyreke Evans, and the Grizzlies are like, we'll just try to re-sign him this offseason. Good job, Grizzlies. Great job. You're doing great.
Brian, what do you make of that proposed trade offer? Would you have taken that if you were the Grizzlies?
Yes, I'm done trying to do anything with Memphis front office. They are so clearly needing a rebuild, but are so dead set on trying to keep Marc Gasol and Mike Conley, and are clearly overvaluing everybody else in terms of what they can get for them. I think what you'll see happen Tyreek Evans, who was under contract for $3.3 million this year, is going to go in free agency, and because he had a good year racking up minutes for the Grizzlies, somebody needed to, he's going to end up getting $15 million a year, and the Grizzlies are going to say, I don't think you're really worth that. They're going to lose him for nothing.
All right, next up on our trade details list here is the Heat and the Hawks. Luke Babbitt got dealt again. Harris, just very quick thought here because, well, no one knows these guys.
Luke Babbitt.
There you go. All right, well, next up here, Raptors Kings. This one a little bit different. Malachi Richardson goes to Toronto. Bruno, who was 2 years away from being 2 years away, is still several years away because he is expected to be waived by the Kings. I broke Harris again. First time all night.
I still have no idea how. Like, and again, the only part that this trade comes back to for me is that in the middle of their potential, basically attempt at beating LeBron James and heading to the top of the Eastern Conference, the Raptors decided to draft a dude who was not going to be in the NBA for possibly 4 more years. And now they're sitting, it's very funny because now they're sitting in a spot where if they actually drafted a good rookie in his spot, they would probably be the best team in the Eastern Conference. Instead, they're still battling it out with the Celtics and the Cavs.
And that's the details on that Raptors-Kings trade. We had another 3-team trade this weekend today. Nuggets, Knicks, and Mavs, a bunch of second-round picks involves. Brian, I guess the headliners here are Doug McDermott, Dougie McBuckets, and Emmanuel Mudiay. Who do you think won this trade?
The Knicks, again, they got the best player in Mudiay, who, even though he can't shoot and has some major offensive limitations, is very athletic, long, will, I think, end up being a very good bench player for them in their guard rotation, has versatility to play multiple positions, and more importantly, defend multiple positions. So for them, it's very good. The Mavs got some shooting and Doug McDermott. McDermott, I think that helps him more than helps the Mavs because he'll have an opportunity to shoot. And the Nuggets got a veteran in Devin Harris, which they had kind of been lacking since Jameer Nelson left, and I think they wanted that guy in the backcourt, so they got that in Devin Harris.
All right, there. So Mudiay goes to the Knicks. We'll see if he can ever develop into what Denver thought he was going to be. Mavs get a shooter in McDermott, and a bunch of second-round picks all get dealt around as well. Bulls, Blazers next up. This Harris was to get the Blazers under the luxury tax, and the Bulls get Noah Vonleh.
Certainly a better idea than trading C.J. McCollum to get under the cap. So now they trade Vonleh, get a 32-year-old European rights deal, and they get to move on with themselves. Like, I think Noah Vonleh it's sad because he was such a high pick in his respective draft. I believe he went 8th overall. He just keeps getting shuffled around. Another guy that was drafted by the wrong team, then got traded to the wrong team. Maybe he'll find a home on the Bulls. But it's funny because the Bulls already have Bobby Portis, and Noah Vonleh and Bobby Portis are kind of the same player.
Still question whether or not Milo Rigovic is a real player, but apparently he is and not a 2K creation. Pelicans up next, and well, this was another player who got traded earlier the deadline and now is on the move here. Harris, I'll let you take this one again. Rashad Vaughn goes to the Pelicans, Dante Cunningham to Brooklyn.
Yeah, Dante Cunningham's been just, kind of a journeyman bench player in the NBA, and now he's journeymaning over to Brooklyn. It's just kind of one of those deals. Probably the Nets need a little bit more depth at forward. Rashad Vaughn was never going to be a real player for them. Again, they're trying to do everything they possibly can to make sure that Nets pick is as low as possible.
All right, 2 more trades left. Wizards and the Hawks. This one is technically not really finalized because we don't know what the Wizards are getting back. Sheldon Mack, a.k.a. Sheldon McClellan, is going to the Hawks.
We do know that it's not Marco Bellinelli, which, again, is just how if you're the Hawks, do you not look at Marco Bellinelli and trade him for anything you possibly can? You are the worst team in the Eastern Conference. Why are you not trading Marco Bellinelli?
Brian, I can see your face on our second screen here off camera. You seem to agree with Harris here.
Yeah, they took him out of the lineup 2 days ago and told him, you're being traded. And then he wasn't traded, and I don't know what they could possibly give up here other than something extremely minor. It baffles me they didn't at least get a second-round pick for him.
So we'll see exactly what happens with the Wizards when we find out. That we don't know yet means not very much in return. One final trade, and we'll end with this one before we get into some winners and losers here. The Magics and the Suns. Elfrid Payton on the mood at long last here. What do you make of this deal? We'll start with the Suns' perspective, Brian.
Yeah, it's a good move for them. I think they got a quality defender, which they needed. They got a quality playmaker from the point guard position, which they need. I don't think they can count on him to be their long-term answer at the position. I think we'll see them go after somebody in the draft that maybe a Trae Young or Colin Sexton, depending on where their pick falls. But Peyton gives them good value and somebody that they'll, with a ton of cap space, I'm sure will re-sign and then probably have as a backup guard for the next several years.
I just want to mention this here, and Harris, I'll let you chime in after I say this. Orlando traded Dario Saric and picks that later turned out to be De'Aaron Fox and Willie Hernangomez for Elfrid Payton on draft night, and now they get a second-round pick. They have not done a good job of drafting.
The Magic don't do a good job at anything except watching their good players leave.
Ooh, and leaking their boards. Remember that? Brian remembers that, the whiteboard that got leaked of potential targets in the offseason.
Don't worry, guys. They're going to compete for a championship by 2030.
At that point, I'm sure that Brian, at that point, it'll be Harris Rubenstein Jr. at point guard.
You're going to have a kid by then?
I don't know.
I hope not. He's going to be 12? The math doesn't work out at all then.
It doesn't need to. It's the Magic.
All right, folks. I'm Tom Downey. Mr. Math over there is Harris Rubenstein. We're joined by Brian Ralph. Follow him on Twitter at BRalph33.